Salut et bienvenue. In this lesson, we'll be talking about la conjugaison des verbes du premier groupe. Conjugation of verbs of the first group. In French, verbs are classified according to groups based on their endings. So, the first group, we say, verbs that end in ER belong to the first group. And then we have the second group and the third group. But in this lesson, we will not be talking about those ones. We'll only be talking about the ones that end in ER. So verbs that end in ER in French belong to the first group. There's one verb in this group that is irregular. The rest of them are very regular. And that irregular verb is aller, which means to go. We will not be talking about aller today because its conjugation is irregular. But we will focus on the other ones. So, first of all, let's talk about this tense, le présent de l'indicatif. Le présent de l'indicatif, as the name implies, present indicative. So, it expresses an action that is happening at the time you're speaking. And also, an action that is habitual. A habitual action and an action that is happening at the time that you are speaking. So this one tense corresponds to two different tenses in English, the present simple and the present continuous. But we're not going into English today. We're not teaching English, so let's just focus on what it means in French. So, to be able to do this, we say, let's have a look at the infinitive. We say the verb is in the infinitive if it is not conjugated. In French, it will have an ending of ER, RE, or IR. That's the way you know it. So let's have a look at one common verb, parler. Parler. So what we do is very simple. We cut the ending out. Cut it out. So ER is the ending. Remove it. We're left with parle. P-A-R-L. Now, there's a formula to conjugate in this tense that I just mentioned, le présent de l'indicatif. The formula is for je, it should end in I. For tu, it should end in es. For il and elle, it should end in I as well. And for nous, it should end in ons. For vous, it should end in ez. And for il and elle in the plural, it should end in ent. So the formula is I, es, E. ONS, EZ, ENT. That's how you conjugate in this tense, le présent de l'indicatif. So, what do we have? Parle. We just plug parle in here, and that's it. So, we have je parle, tu parles, il parle, elle parle, nous parlons, vous parlez, il, elle parle. Then notice that it's always parle except for nous and vous. Even though the spelling differs, it's exactly the same pronunciation. There is no difference in the pronunciation of il parle in the singular and il parle in the plural. It's parle, parle everywhere but nous and vous. So we've got that straight. Let's have a look at another common verb, which is danser. Danser. We have a look at the ending, ER. We remove the ER. What we're left with is dance, D-A-N-S. So let's plug it into our formula. Remember the formula is E, E-S, E, O-N-S, E-Z, E-N-T. So, je danse, tu danses, il, elle danse, nous dansons, vous dansez, il, elle dance. Too easy. Let's have a look at another one. Let's have a look at chercher. We remove the ER, we're left with cherche. We plug it into the formula. We have je cherche, tu cherches, il, elle cherche. Nous cherchons, vous cherchez, il, elle cherche. Same thing. Il, elle cherche. The cherche has exactly the same pronunciation as je cherche. Let's have a look at écouter. Now with écouter, there's something extra that we need to do there, because écouter starts with a vowel. But what we will do only applies to your first person singular, which is je. Because je ends in an E, écouter begins with an E, a vowel. Those two vowels or vowel sounds will not meet when it comes to je. It can happen anywhere else with the other subject pronouns, but not with je. Je is the problematic one. So we say, j'écoute. We remove the E from je and just join it with écoute. So we have j'écoute, not je écoute. J'écoute, tu écoutes, il écoute, elle écoute. Nous écoutons, vous écoutez. Il, elles écoutent. Il, elles écoutent. Now remember, we're still doing the liaison. So sometimes when I'm teaching, I don't make liaison in certain cases because I want you to get the actual words. But if I was speaking, I will speak differently. So if, for instance, il est, I would say il écoute. But I need you to get the sound, so that's why I went il écoute, elle écoute. When you become fluent in French, you will say il écoute, elle écoute. You won't say il écoute, elle écoute. That's like a beginner. So that's it. Is there another verb that we want to look at again? Maybe let's have a look at donner. Donner ends in ER. It belongs to the first group. So remove the ER, which is the ending. We're left with the stem. What's left is called the stem. D-O-N-N is the stem. We plug the stem into the formula. Remember, the formula is E, E-S-E, O-N-S, E-Z-E-N-T. So let's go. Je donne. Tu donnes. Il, elle donne. Nous donnons. Vous donnez. Il, elle donne. So, for instance, this one, we're actually saying I give or I am giving. So, as a beginner, most of the time or sometimes people tend to look for I am and then giving in French. But that's not what you need to do, because this verb, this tense that we're using to conjugate today has everything in it. So if you wanted to say, for instance, I am giving, remember we did I am when we conjugated être. Some people tend to go back to that to say je suis, and then they get stuck. But you don't have to do that, because this tense means what you're doing now and what you do regularly as a habit. So no suis, we just go je donne. Je donne means I am giving. Right now, as I'm talking to you, as I'm speaking to you, I am giving. So je donne, or that's what I do habitually. I give money to people. Je donne de l'argent à des gens. Je donne de l'argent à des gens. Whether today, whether right now, whether every day a week, that's je donne. Je donne. It's very easy. Very, very easy. So it brings us to the end of this lesson today. We will go into more detail in our next lesson. But for today, that's it. Thanks for watching. Remember to subscribe if you haven't yet. And don't forget to hit the notification button so that if I upload a new video, you won't miss it. Bonne journée. Au revoir et à bientôt.